What is up, everyone? Welcome to the BX Sports Jedi, the Jets-Alorian Jets Report podcast with your host, BX Sports Jedi, Kev. I hope you guys are doing a wonderful, wonderful day. I just had to give it 24 hours. It's Monday, midday. I just had to give it a 24-hour thoughts, reflection on the New York Jets. Of course, those that watch along with us, we did the watch along here. That's why we're called the Dawn of the Watch. I am called the Dawn of the Watch alongs. We do all the watch alongs, not just with the football, with the NBA basketball, as well as MLB baseball with New York Yankees, the New York Rangers, MMA, and WWE wrestling. So we are the network. If you like to watch along, if you just don't want to watch along at home, you pop in, you put on your TV, you watch along with us on the YouTube channel or in the Rumba, Twitch, Facebook app, anywhere you find us, BX Sports Jedi Network, and in all your audio platform, which is either from iHeart, Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor FM, Spreaker, you name it, you got it. Just type in BX Sports Jedi Network and all the different programs from the Jets-Alorians, from the Rangerstown Republic, from the MMA Weekly podcast with Austin and Chef Dan, as well as the Bronx Bombers Strike Back Yankee podcast. So welcome. Let's get into it, man. Week 15, our reactions, our thoughts. The New York Jets fall. They become a victim here to the Detroit Lions at home, by the way, 20-17 in a game where we knew Mike White in the middle of the week. He tried to get as many doctors' clearance, although he didn't go to one doctor. He should have went to Dr. Sampson, the AEW medical staff, because he clears anybody with a concussion, with a broken neck. You know, you go to Doc Sampson from AEW. Maybe maybe Tony Khan. Maybe you want to let Doc Sampson take a look at Mike White for the Jacksonville Jaguar games on Thursday. But let's stay back into the football part of it. The New York Jets tried to get Mike White on the field. He could not. He wasn't cleared. Zach Wilson. In comes Zach Wilson. Hit an opportunity for Zach Wilson to redeem himself, to be a conquering return of a Jedi kind of a deal, And Zach Wilson, although a lot of people want to pin it on the quarterback, me doing the watch-alongs, this game here, like I said, I needed a 24-hour marination. Look at it, watch a little bit more film. He missed a lot of easy throws. Those that watch along with us, and thank you for the support on the watch along. I kept saying it, Zach Wilson. I kept putting it as this: Zach Wilson has to throw out kisses. And they go, hey, BX, what the hell is throwing kisses? Keep it simple, stupid. All the simple plays, I know easier said than me. I mean, here sitting behind a computer desk and saying, for him to make those throws look simple. But all I kept saying was keep it simple. Keep the throw simple, in strides. But I think Zach Wilson, and I hate to say this, he has a talent. He is a talented quarterback. I think he's too short. Plain and simple. I think Zach Wilson is extremely too short for the NFL as an NFL quarterback. I don't think he has the height, and something you cannot teach is height. I know, BX, Drew Brees was successful. Yes, Drew Brees was successful because and there's exception to the rules and everything. He was an exception to the rule there, to the short. There's nothing wrong with the short quarterback, but also he had a hell of an offensive line. Now, the offensive line didn't play that bad or didn't play that well either. They didn't establish their dominance. We saw that earlier in the part of the game. They were consciously taking the running game away. Zion Knight couldn't not run at all. I'll put the graphics of all the totals. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. We'll put the Zach Wilson numbers here. Wilson finished the afternoon 18 out of 35, 51.4%. He had 317 yards. He did had a couple of he had a 50, a 40, and a 30-yard pass. Also, he had a duck that Michael Carter-Williams caught there and really bailed his rear end out there. That was like a punt, a big part there. And, of course, he had 2 touchdowns, but the one key mistake was that interception. He just lobbed that up there, and he just got that. And that's to be honest with you, there's other things that could be called play of the games, and we'll get into that in one moment right second here. I just wanted to talk about the running attack for the New York Jets. Their running attack, they didn't have much running. They had 23 yards for Zion Knight on 13 carries. He averaged a yard and a half, a yard and an 8. Michael Carter he didn't run much either. He had 4 attempts. for 15 yards. Wilson an RPO. He did a couple runs there. One he had for no gain, and a couple had a nice one for 5 yards. Elijah Moore, they try to do that jet sweep with him, and Tyler Conklin when he lined up on a center and he went on a short and inches and he got that 2 yard push there. So those were the running plays for the Jets. But if you want to talk about where the game really you could have said, "Oh boy," and it was started early. I'm gonna be totally honest. The opening drive, here comes the Lions, drive it all the way down to the 2 yard line, 9 plays, long drive with the defense, and you're gonna say, "Well, BX, you're nuts." The Jets got a big goal line stance. They did what they had to do in the goal line. You're absolutely correct. But when this type of defense, you put the offense with Zach Wilson, who has not played for over about 3 weeks. He has not played for over 3 weeks, and you put him in that pressure. And let's face it, on that third down, he didn't do himself any favors either. He missed Denzel Mims, if he would have hit him in stride, he would have got him some breathing room. And I kept saying, hit your receivers in stride because they're very talented. One thing the Jets on their have is a plethora of talent. Is although they were short-handed with Corey Davis, and then we'll see Denzel Mims later in the game leaves with a concussion. But they have a plethora of strength. Income Smith that had a pretty decent game. But my point is, if he hits some of these wide receivers in stride, there is yards after the catch, break a tackle. You can never assume that as soon as these receivers get caught, they're going to go down immediately. They could be broken tackles, missed tackles, anything could happen. Of course, you also risk the fact that the wide receivers could put the ball on the ground, and turn the ball over. All those things come into factor. So you can really not assume, but let's play the hypothetical. He hits some of these receivers in stride. Denzel Mims, even if he catches and goes down, you give Brandman an opportunity to punt the ball with some space. And again, another special team touchdown given up by the New York Jets. We saw that in the New England game that cost them the game, and this sets up the Jets to be in the hole 7-0 on that kickoff. He returns it to the house. Raymond, they're down 7-0. Kudos for the Jets to battle back, make it a 10-10 game at halftime. They got the ball back. The Jets got themselves the lead going into the fourth. And let's face it, this defense do not get any turnovers. Something that frustrates me about the New York Jets defense, they're very good. They're not championship level. And I can say, well, we didn't have Quentin Williams. There's a plethora of excuses there. But the team still played well. They didn't record a sack because they were getting sacks left and right throughout the regular season. Yesterday, no Quentin Williams. You still got talent on there. You got Lawson. You have Franklin Myers. You've got so many other players on that roster that put pressure. And Golf, let me give you Golf. Golf played a game where he really didn't feel any pressure. No. He was comfortable. He didn't have to do too much. He wasn't asked to win the game, although he wasn't there. You didn't put him in a position to lose it. So look at Golf's numbers. Golf was 23 out of 38, 60.5, 60.5% with 252 yards. He that's it. That was a smooth game. No hurry ups. No in danger. And let me give you the gold stats here. The Jets here had 27 time of possession, 33 minutes for the Lions. They held the ball. They went on some long drives against this defense. And the Jets, believe it or not, had more first downs than the Lions. The Lions totally yards, 359 yards to 337. But the Jets outpassed the Lions, 252 to 287. Zach, of course, at the end of the game, trying to get some yards there. And we'll get to the end of the game as well, because there's a lot of things you could dissect or even criticize there with the timeout situation. The Jets only ran for 50 yards rushing. That was a signature from Breece Hall, Bam Knight, Michael Carter. I understand Michael Carter might have been a little banged up, and Sam Knight has been running very well. But Detroit made a conscious effort of stacking the box where Hutchinson. He looked like finally a player there from, he looked like the old man Hutchinson from Michigan. My God, he was, causing havoc. But the Jets, again, They had an opportunity to have this game there to win at home. On a home game, you had an opportunity to win this game, put yourself in the driver's seat for your postseason clinching. Especially, after that game is over, you see what happened to New England, and then of course the night before, you see the Dolphins lose. So you had a kind of bit of a gift wrap there early, and you let it slip through your hands. The Jets are losing games now. They have games, winnable games that they had an opportunity to win, have fallen through the grasp. How many times are you going to go to that well, especially after being 7-4, 6-3? You felt good about this team. Let's face it, we all knew that they weren't supposed to be this good. They're accelerating, but when you're already at that level, okay, once you go to the point of no return record wise, you got to make the step forward. You can't take a step back here. And you got to win these games at home and these close type of marginal games. I understand you got to, your quarterback situation and so forth. And of course, one thing when I started seeing Zach Wilson struggle a little bit, or when they couldn't run the ball, I just said, and kudos to my partner, Chef Dan, who actually said that to me. Man, well, he said an expletive. With screw Mekhi Becton. I'm like, because you made Mekhi Becton not getting out, not being healthy, not being in weight, not putting the work in, caused Vera Tucker to move position and get injured. But you can never assume. I said, you know what? You can never assume injuries on your linemen. It can happen even just, hey, heck, they could wake up in bed and get out of bed wrong and tweak a back or something. I said, you could, but I understand his point, because I thought, man, we had two good interior linemen, especially right tackle and left tackle. Man, we could have been dominating the line of scrimmage and maybe giving some time to quarterback. Maybe Mike White's ribs, would have not got hurt. But you know what I always say in my channel: would have, could have, should have. If my aunt had balls, she'll be my uncle. You know what I mean? So with that said, I move on with that. So we got to play next man up. And man, this defense, I'm more down on. You know what? I'm more down on the defense, be honest with you, than the team. The defense has been good all season. Don't get me wrong. They only allowed one touchdown, and that was that 4th and inches. Granted, I understand that the Jets already had that goal line stop. They felt confident that and they thought that the Lions were going to be goofy enough to go again and try to run it up the middle, and and try to get the first down and move. That was a gutsy call by the coaching staff, though. They just had it to back up tight end and hit him, and he went to strive and he took it 50 yards. Now, the one thing that bothers me with the defense, you telling me no one could come catch up or get to this slow-footed tight end to at least make a play. He looks totally like he was by himself playing catch. And we're like, oh my goodness, it was a shocking moment. It was like, really? Is this something? And it made me say, same old Jets. And it wasn't really. This team, this coaching staff, this organization currently right now, this players, it's not really same old Jets. You could see that this team, I guess what frustrates, and I had to take a few seconds to think about it, or 24 hours, was this team has talent. This team is an extremely talented team. Their front line, the defensive line, is very good. The linebackers are good. Though Mosley's starting to become a little bit overrated. I could see I see in the offseason, that's for another show, for another time, but I could see Mosley getting cut. In as a cap casualty, but we leave that for another time. The corners, Sauce Gardner, Reed, very strong. Although they didn't play with Joyner. Joyner was out. LaMarcus Joyner, missing that there. But the secondary was not an issue. They weren't getting burned with the passing. Bent but don't break. But it was more like mental errors, like the mental errors, not getting off the field on third down at times, letting certain plays get developed, and the pressure was not really there too much for Goff. He was pretty much smooth, not picking apart too much, because he had some missed opportunities as well. But the defense, when it came time to come up in a huge moment, they kind of fall short. We saw that in the Minnesota game. We saw that also in the Buffalo game. They when they need that key moment, they just couldn't. They just couldn't capitalize that. And of course, I don't want to make a comparison, but the Giants had 2 turnovers and they won their game. And they didn't. And the Jets played better. Believe it or not, the Jets offensively played better than the Giants. I watched both games, and it's apples to apples, orange to oranges. I know that, but Jets seem like a more talented team. The Giants were more well coached team. And it's not a knock on Salah, but let's get to Salah now. I know everyone's criticizing about he had an extra timeout when Zach Wilson, when he got the first down, should have called timeout. Could have got an extra 40 seconds. Okay, that's a growing pain. That's a coach who's learning. Remember, he's the coordinator, second year head coach, game management. Maybe, and everybody's suggesting he should get a game management or clock management coach. Okay, that's something that he might with experience guarantee he'll never make that mistake again. And if he does, then there's something wrong with him. I don't think he'll never make that. That's a lesson learned. He'll never make that blunder with the time management. Guarantee he'll be sharp as a wit when it comes to that. Those are lessons learned. Now you could do that with a rookie head coach or second year head coach, and the defense you can't, because there's defense. You have guys, especially your linebackers. They're, especially when the money that you paid Mosley to come here, and I'm not blaming this all on Mosley, but he's got to be. And I know that wasn't his assignment, but still, he's the anchor. He's got to get these guys going, make them. They have to take their level. They have to take their defensive level just to one more notch, And I mentioned it on the watch along. If the Jets are going to win this game, it's got to start with the defense. Might have to win this game. And the defense did not win the game. And I said, if you put on the first 10 minutes or less than that on the watch along, that was one of my keys to the game. I said, the defense got to win this game for the New York Jets. And I didn't not because I didn't have confidence in Zach Wilson, but Zach Wilson was inactive 3 weeks. You don't know how the team was going to receive him. You saw a couple missed-sailed throws. There was a play there. If he would have hit Berrios and Strive in that final possession, I think Berrios up the middle would have been running and possibly might have taken it to the house with the way he's so sharp and so nifty. You never know. Break a couple tackles. Like I said, get the ball simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Give it kisses out there and just get him in Strive. There was also a play prior to an opportunity. If he would have just got him wide open, he had Uzomah before, and he sailed it away from him. I know he wasn't going to score, but he would have been stopped, or he was on his way to the goal. It was underneath the 20-yard line in the red zone. You never know. Like I said, these tight ends, they break a couple tackles. They bulldozers. They're like a bull in the China a bull in a China store, and you could just bull rush in. You never know. Zach missed a couple checkdowns and bouncing the balls to the corner to the running backs. He's got to get better with the simple throws. And I'm going by his height. I'm sorry. I hate to be height shaming, but there's a reason why 6'2" and 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" quarterbacks are in the league and they're successful. They see the field. They surveil the field better. They have a height advantage. You up higher. That's why. When scouts scout and they look for their quarterback, they look for those attributes. And Zach Wilson, he's got to always be in the shotgun formation. I like, I maybe call me traditionalist, call me old fashioned, but the under center, nothing wrong with the 3-stretch job. And I understand he has terrible footwork, and I understand probably why that they kind of want to put him in that shotgun to succeed. But I feel like the offense doesn't cater around Zach Wilson. It doesn't play to his strength, and Zach has to adapt. You can never get, you don't get always the way you want. You can't get what you want all the time. You got to adapt. And I think and a lot of people say, Mike White would have won that game. You're possibly right. I think Mike White would have won that game. I think the Jets win convincingly, like the way that they did on the Bears. I thought it might have been close, and then probably the second quarter or coming back at halftime, the Jets would have pulled away with that game. I think if Mike White was there, but like I said, would have, could have, should have, and Zach Wilson had an opportunity. He did get the Jets into an opportunity to tie the game. I understand 58-yard field goal, and Zerline, I knew he wasn't going to hit that 58-yarder. It was just, I mean, like, you know what? That's like 58 yards, man. You're asking him to hit that in that crucial time and where they had no business. To be honest with you, you know what? At least they attempted. At least Zach got to the opportunity for the kicker to tie. One thing I'm going to say about that last sequence, I wasn't The play calling, I wasn't a fan too much of it. I understand he made some plays and stuff. It felt like the Jets wanted to play for a tie. And instead of, you know what, you're at freaking home. You go win that game. I don't care home or on the road. If you got an opportunity to what a touchdown wins you the game, you go get it. Then the last resort is your field goal. But you go and I didn't felt the Jets offensive play calling, even the clock management, the coaching, didn't feel like they wanted to win the game. They felt like they wanted to, okay, let's tie the game. Let's tie. Let's go into overtime and we'll try to win it there. And once you have that philosophy, you kind of was a settling, and that bothers me. That's why it took me a few 24 hours to uh, rehash and re get my words, and I'm still flustering with the what I want to say, express myself about it. Is it a this loss demoralizing loss? It could be, but you had that gift from the Raiders to keep to give a pulse. You still have a pulse. You still have a heartbeat to make this postseason, and Salah with the timeouts, one more timeout, the extra seconds, they would have been in that. Maybe you never know. Maybe he might have got 40 seconds, made that play there, possibly get another 15, 10 yards, and then they'll say the way they were looking, the way they were playing, they would have tied the game and we would have went to overtime. You never know what happens. But at the end of the day, the Jets still lost that game. They're a 500 team now. They have a short week. In comes the Jacksonville Jaguars, who won a game. All right, look, don't look now. They're becoming a little bit heat up. Their division is still out there. They still a contention of winning their division. I believe if they win out, and what maybe possibly with a couple helps, the Jacksonville Jaguars, dare I say, it might win their division. So this is a tale of the tape. Once I find the Jets, and once I find that Jacksonville Jaguar stats, they play on They play a short week. It's a short week. They play at 8:15. But here's the one thing that's going to favor the New York Jets. It's going to be an outdoor game. It's going to be in the 40s, nighttime. Florida teams, there's advantage. Short week. Usually in the short weeks, the visiting team, are, I believe, under like 30%. They don't win those games on Thursday night. The crowd at MetLife Stadium is going to be raucous. The big question is, who will be under center? Would it be Zach Wilson again, or would it be Mike White? Mike White is going to try to get cleared. I believe that man will do whatever he can in his powers to try to get cleared, to try to play. But if Zach Wilson is under center, the Jets should still win this game. I know Trevor Lawrence is a really good quarterback, starting to play like the number one draft pick, and the game is starting to slow down for Lawrence. But it's up to the Jets defense. Does the young Lawrence feel cocky enough to want to throw against Sauce Gardner and Reed, challenge them? And it's up to these two gentlemen to stop the passing game and possibly get some interceptions. Possibly pick, what I would love Lamar if Jordan could return, or one of the safeties take one to the house, man. Just cut in on a route and get a pick six, man. We really could. We haven't had one, in quite some time. Well, man, that would be phenomenal to just rattle Lawrence. I think Quentin Williams will be back in the line. Hopefully, we get some more pressure and get a couple of sacks. I know one of the offensive linemen for the Jacksonville Jaguars ruled out, so they're going to be one lineman down. Now, this defense, this New York Jet front line, Franklin Myers, Lawson, Jermaine Johnson and company, they gotta get some pressure, help out this defense, which they've been doing fine all season. Just for some reason, they just couldn't get there. Kudos. Hey, we also got to give kudos to the Detroit Lions. They're not the same old punching bags of the NFC North. They've been under Dave Campbell. You see the improvement. You see that the system working, and they're getting better, and they're improving as a team. So, not, it wasn't like, oh, we're going the Jets because we're the Jets and you're the Lions. We're supposed to be there and punch you and give you and treat you like a punching bag. Of course, it's any given Sunday, anyone could win. The Lions came out and played. They just did enough they did enough not to lose that game, and the Jets didn't do enough to win the game. In a long story short, hey, I want Salah to work out. You see the improvement as a team. You even see the improvement as an organization. Their draft picks, all the draft picks that the Jets drafted this season, They all have impact. This team, they all have an impact. And I know right now it looks bleak because they're 7-7, and they were above a couple. They were 3 to 4 games over 500, and you're thinking, wow, we're in this. It's December 19th currently right now. We're going into Christmas Eve, and the Jets are still playing meaningful football. And I know they don't give participation trophies. They don't give, oh, we were playing meaningful football banners. And I know that. But let's face it, last year, we were looking at the draft. We were looking at, oh, let's look at the bowl games to see who the Jets might be able to scout. They got a bunch of picks here. Who could we pick here? And this year, we're talking about possibly be having a meaningful playoff type of game against the Dolphins in Miami in January. So it's a long way, but it's a strive, and I want to see. I want to keep it half full, the glass half full. And say there's still optimism and hope that the Jets, will be playing that January game in Miami, meaningful playoff winner gets in. Although Miami, I think Miami's going to lose out. I don't. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to go on a limb here. I think Miami lose their next three. I think Miami lose out, and I think New England's in trouble. I think they lose the next two. And the Jets, but it's up to the Jets now. They got to beat Jacksonville, and they got to go into a tough Seattle. And if they win those 2 games, they're playing with free and easy. Or they probably even clinch. They take on Miami, possibly, for positioning, maybe 7th, maybe 6th. Who knows? But maybe that's just me being an optimistic or wishful Jet fan. Hey, listen, I've been watching this team for a long time. I haven't seen them. I just seen them go to 2 AFC title games back to back, and that's my highlight. And actually 3 times with Bill Parcells. That's been my highlight. I would love to see them take that next step to get into that Super Bowl. But right now, we just worry one game at a time, and it's Thursday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll Jets-Alorian podcast. We'll do that watch along. I will be doing that watch along. Please join us. Please join us. We're going to be here on in the YouTube channel. That's BX Sports Jedi Network. And please, you can find us everywhere on our socials, the same social, BX Sports Jedi Network, anywhere, Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, Rumba, you name it, you got it. BX Sports Jedi Network. Just click it and join the BX Sports Jedi chat. We have a worldwide chat with a lot of folks from around the world that chat in and out. That always comes on, and a good group of guys and girls that always comes into the chat and always interact. So we are an audience participation program. This was recorded earlier, so we'll be airing where it's airing. I know if everyone's in the chat, I want to say thank you. Happy holidays. Thank you for joining me this evening, even though it's on a recorded stream, but I appreciate you guys watching along with being part of the podcast. So for the Jets, they got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They need to win. I like to see them how they come out on Thursday. I think they're gonna run the ball. I think they're gonna be run heavy. I think they're gonna want a time of possession, cold. The Jacksonville defense coming out of Florida, although it's been cold here in Florida, we have a cold front. I live in Orlando. I live in Florida, and we about an hour and a half to 2 hours to Jacksonville, and they're a little more colder, so we have a cold front. So right now it's 40, 45, 48 degrees in the mornings. They'll probably practice in that. Of course, it gets up to 70. Oh, lucky you. You're crying about a little bit of 40s. But all in all, the point is they could have those players out there first thing in the morning practicing that early part of the morning in that chilly environment just to get acclimated to what it's going to be like on Sunday a little chilly and a little overcast. They'll be able to practice in that weather at least for the more early first part of the morning, and they'll get acclimated. And when they go into MetLife, it won't be too much of a climate shock for the team. So just giving you the heads up on that there. So the Jets take on the Jacksonville Jaguar. We'll be back on to do that watch along Thursday night. And of course, I want to give a little bit of shout out to the New York Giants. Very gutsy signature win going out to Washington, beating the Commanders there. They had 2 turnovers. Kayvon Thibodeau, finally the first round draft pick, make grand slam. He had the strip sack, the fumble recovery, and the touchdown. Good job on them. Of course, that Dable challenging that fumble where they got possession back. They held it up. And of course, the Giants got, they could say the referee helped a little bit with the non-pass interference call, the illegal formation. Hey, You don't apologize. You take that victory. You earned it. Daniel Jones did just enough. Believe it or not, Zach Wilson played a little more better than Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones did the right play. They play smarter. To me, that was a team victory for the Giants. They played like a team. They played collectively, and that was a good, solid team victory. Saquon Barkley at the end with those power running, the RPOs with Daniel Jones, and of course for the Giants, they're in a good shape. They got to win their game. They have a winnable game up ahead, and they just got to win their game. They win two or the last three, or maybe one, and they're in good shape to possibly finally get in the playoffs. They're going to also get healthy, and Dory Jackson and McKinney might be returning back soon, so they're going to get healthier in the secondary. Now, if Thibodeau starts wreaking havoc in the front line, putting pressure, hey, are they going to? Could they go to the Super Bowl? I'm not. Maybe not. Maybe could they win get in the playoff and win one round? Yeah, why not? I could see that. Possibly get into divisionals, but you know what? You never limit the teams. And the same thing with the Jets. You never limit your teams. Oh, they're going to go here. Hey, just sit back, enjoy the ride. If they get in, sit back. It's free money. You know what I mean? It's house money. Go and have fun when you make the playoffs. So, with that said, guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me here on the Jets-Alorian podcast. Please give us a like, a share, or wherever if you're listening in the Apple, please hit that 5-star review in the Spreaker. Give a feedback, please. We love to hear from our audience. We like to thank you and for taking your time to listening to us, to be part of the BX Sports Jedi Network. And anything we could do to help the channel or the program greater. Maybe you want to come on and be a panelist with me and have a debate with me and say, hey, you were wrong. I want to debate you. Hey, all you got to do is reach out. The Exports Jedi Network. Hey, I want to be a panelist. Hey, we'll make it work. You come on camera, you come on, or you want to come on the podcast. We have a conversation about the New York Jets sports-wise. We're ready to go. So happy holidays for you guys. We'll see you Thursday night here on the BX Sports Jedi Network, the Jets-Alorian podcast. We'll see you. May the sports be with you. May the Jets be with you. We'll see you.